Hi friends, welcome to the recap of Miss Universe Philippines 2025. I'm Dani Walker. If you enjoy content like this, please consider supporting the channel through hitting that super thanks button, joining memberships, or sharing the episode with a friend. I'm super excited you're here. Let's talk about the show. In this episode, I'm going to share with you the standout moments in the show for me and my personal favorites. First of all, the opening reminded me a lot of this year's Miss Earth, or this past Miss Earth. I thought it was really beautiful. We saw a lot of traditional Filipino performers and dancers. It was lovely. I thought that the stage, in my opinion, was kind of like a step up from previous editions of Miss Universe Philippines. I personally really liked it. When it came to the semi-finalists, that announcement, this was a really, really tough year, but I feel like everybody that was announced had been in my episodes, they'd been on my radar, and I felt like this was such a strong top 24. So I was very, very happy with a 24. I don't think that I've been this happy with semi-finalists since Miss Universe 2020. When I heard that announcement, when I was at that pageant actually, I was like, yes, I just felt like these were such good, solid choices and that, everybody really deserved to be there. It was interesting to see that this year they did a little semi-finalist intro and walk after they announced all the ladies. I didn't mind that at all. I thought it's great learning a little bit more about each contestant. It also gave each of them a little bit more time just on stage to walk. I thought it was wonderful. Now, one thing about this though, in terms of the production that I thought could have been improved, and this was throughout the entire show, is that when we would get these uptight close shots of the contestants when they were on stage, it would make it look like they were just on a solid background because the designs in the back of the stage, you could see them at a distance. You could see that they were there, but once you zoomed in, it just looked like a solid color, and I wasn't a fan of that. I was I think that they needed to kind of shrink down or multiply their graphics that they were using on the LED so that there was actually something going on behind the contestants, or at least put a still image in the back that created a scene that gave it a little bit more of a dynamic look. So that was one thing that really stuck out to me. Now, I really loved the ladies though. I did, however, think that the dresses that they wore for the intro could have been a little bit shorter. I just felt like that length was just sort of a weird length, and you could see that the ladies, they all had to have a really high back slit to even be able to take big long strides in those dresses. And that's something you can fix if you just shorten the hemline. I felt like we had a really, really strong start to the swimsuit competition with Baguio. I absolutely love her. Honestly, I was rooting for her to be in that top 6. I think that she did such an excellent job. I want to see her come back or compete somewhere else. I just think she's so stunning. I think that her performances are there. I was a little bit bummed to see though that just because of the staging of everything, when she got to the end of the runway, it was a clip of her and the singer, and I just wanted her. I just wanted it to move a little bit to the side and only focus on her. But she, for me, nailed this. Pasay, I think, looked good. I feel like throughout the competition, she was getting better and better, and I love this straight hair look for her. So if she decides to recompete, I'm loving that. She's just so tall, very much like a Catriona. Catriona is such a tall title holder, and I feel like she has this really commanding presence on stage. She did well. I still think that there's room for some growth. Nueva Ecija, I thought that this was one of her strongest performances. I've talked about this. I've critiqued her walk here and there, and I thought that this is exactly where it needed to be. I really liked her for this, but it's a really tough year, and judges at this point in the show are going to be really, really nitpicky. Her physique, though, I have to say as well, amazing. I've never had a child, and I've also never had abs like that, so I'm so impressed. Iligan City, so beautiful. Gosh, and that's one thing this year. I feel like the cameras got some nice up-close shots of the ladies when they were announced into the semifinals, and you could just look at them. You're like, contestant after contestant, just gorgeous. The face cards this year were on another level. So Iligan City, beautiful. She was also one of my personal favorites, especially after the interview competition. I was very much rooting for her. I think she did a great job here, definitely enough to move on as she did. To Gig, absolutely stunning, just so beautiful. Now, I have talked about this hairstyle before, though. I talked about this similar hairstyle when Miss Venezuela did this, and she wore this to Miss Universe for swim, but then she did change it for gown. So I was hoping that we were gonna see a hairstyle change. We didn't, unfortunately, but I do still feel like pulling the hair out of her face, it makes a lot of sense because she has such a stunning face. So it's show it off. That's definitely a strategy, but she did do really, really great here for the swimsuit competition. She's been one of my favorites, so of course I'm gonna be biased and hope that she would move on to gown as she did. Cebu City had had such a special moment during swim. There's this moment where she was just like carefree, kind of like singing with the performer, and I was like, that right there, you just moved on to the next round. The performance was good. So she had a solid walk, solid on her poses, but that little extra moment made her so likable and made it clear that she would be moving forward. This was just so tough. Occidental Mindoro, I loved her too. I actually wish she would have had a different hairstyle for swim. I just didn't love the piece in the front. I thought it was a little bit distracting. But to me, she nailed her poses at the end. Just like everything. Facials, body, posing, fantastic. Benguet I've loved throughout the competition. I loved her in the interview competition, but I will say for swim, like I have to mention, like she did a good job, but I didn't feel like this was her strongest performance. So when I saw this, I got really worried. Davao has been one of my favorites throughout the entire competition, and I was waiting to see what she would do during finals. I think she needed just like a little bit more, like a little extra something for swim. She has been somebody who I think is just so facially beautiful, just absolutely stunning. I think she's articulate and intelligent, and I really like her. And I feel like she did get lost in the mix for finals. Tarlaca was so excited to see that she made it into semifinals. I was like, this is so wonderful. And I started hearing more and more people in my episodes when I was mentioning her that they were like, you're right, like Tarlaca is so beautiful. Like she's such this great kind of dark horse coming out. So I think that she did a wonderful job. But however, like I've said in my other episodes, I feel like she's just young. She just needs some more time. And I do get the vibe that she should try Bini Bini Pilipinas. That's where I feel like she should go next. I love Laguna's walk. She kind of gives me like 90s supermodel vibes for whatever reason with her walk. She's so tall, has beautiful long legs. I just think that she's so stunning. And so for me, like this was an immediate yes, pass her to the next level. Another face card in my opinion, Bohol. Gosh, what am I even gonna say in this episode? Bohol was so stunning, so good, had a great interview. I mean, they just had option after option after option this year. Honestly, you could send anybody, I would say, from a top 12. And they'd still do well internationally. Malaya Aklan, one of my favorites. Oh my gosh, I just think that she's so beautiful. I've been obsessed with her. I was really rooting for her. She would have been somebody I would have loved to have seen in top 6. Honestly, no critiques for this walk and performance. It's great, but it's just tough. Muntinlupa, I still loved her. She's got the body, the walk, the confidence, the face, the smile, all of it. This was an easy pass to the next round. What more can I say about her? Just stunning. When Quezon Province came out, first of all, the crowd was going wild. Second of all, that spin turn that she did in the center reminded me of the timing that Catriona had when she did her lava walk spin turn at Miss Universe. It was such a moment, and I remember saying to my friends when we were all watching together, I was like, that was her moment. She just won. Like, if she can just keep this up, like, she's gonna win. When Sultan Kurarat came out, wow, she has everything. The face, the body, the walk, the poses. This was just tough. I was like, can she win? Will she win? I don't know. It was just so difficult. I absolutely love her. I think she could have won as well. And then Sinaloa and Laguna. This is a tough group. Oh my gosh. Obviously, I feel like she's so known for her waist, that body. Oh my goodness. But she's also really intelligent. So I love that. Just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Another performance that it's like, when I see this, I go, what more could I even ask for from her? Like from any of these contestants. This was so fabulous. Definitely worthy of moving forward. I feel like the cut from swim to gown is tough, but I do feel like the top 12 deserve to be there for sure. I think that they did such a great job. So I was really still happy with these choices. Strong opening with Sultan Kurarat. Wow. Love this gown change. Had a feeling she would change the gown. I was very glad for this. I love the change of styling. She brought back her signature red lip. Just, there were so many great things about this. She was just show-stopping with this performance. A clear standout, clear to me to go to the top 6. It was just like, when I saw her come out, I was like, well, there goes one of the spots. This performance that she gave was just so beautiful. The way that the gown was fitted to her, the poise, the elegance, the grace, it was all there. My next standout performance was Quezon Province. So, as we all know, she took a little tumble on stage. And this is one of those moments where I love mentioning this to contestants, where if you take a tumble, if you trip on stage, it's not gonna stop you from winning a pageant. It's more about how you're gonna recover. It depends on how the judges already feel about you going into finals. So it's not like this big make or break moment. It's not something that you have to run off stage and cry about. It's gonna be okay. And one thing that was brilliant about this is she felt, you didn't even see her react when she fell. It was like, I'm falling. Nothing changed in the face. Amazing. It looked like it didn't even shake her at all after that. Like some contestants, when they fall or trip, you can kind of see in their face where they're like, oh gosh, like I can't, like they're still thinking about it. She moved on from it so quickly, kept going. She knew she was solid. She knew she was good. So this was really nice. Also, I especially appreciated the way that her blush and her lips like perfectly matched the shade of pink of the gown. Like so pretty. Baguio. I really wanted her in the top 6 so badly, especially with this orange gown. I thought this was so stunning, so unique. I love the crystals coming from the side. I absolutely love her. I was rooting for her, and I can only imagine it had to have just been so close, because just look at her. Look at her with that final pivot. Be for real. Tagag. Love this gown change. Had a feeling she was changing the gown. I love that her 2 evening gowns for prelims and finals, they kind of felt like they were from the same collection in terms of the construction. So it's like a sheer evening gown with metallic pieces. I don't even know what material this is on top of her gown. Very unique, really, really beautiful. As I said, I would have loved to have seen her change the hairstyle. I do feel like this half up style just feels very, very youthful, like very teen, but she still looks stunning. Absolutely gorgeous in it. Like I didn't hate it, you know. Out of everybody that I think has worn it, I feel like I like hers the most, but she was just so beautiful, elegant, poised. The face card does not decline, so I was more than happy to see her advance. Laguna, I have to mention, I was really, really loving this gown performance, the gown choice. She went back to white. I think it's so well suited for her. She also is somebody that I could have seen advancing. I just thought that she carried this gown so well. She was so confident in this performance and just glided across the stage. I loved her. Muntinlupa, one of my big favorites here. Love the change to the pink gown. Okay, she kept with her fringe theme going on. I like the pink heel. I like that it just blended in. I mean, I just think that she is one of the most confident contestants that I've seen in a really, really long time. I feel like she's never really trying so hard, and for me, she's really nailing stuff. I love her serious facials, but I also think that her smiling facial expression is great too, and the expression in the eyes, like right before she turned to the back and left, I loved it. Cebu City in this gown, gosh, when she came out in this, like you can hear the crowd, but me and my friends, we were like, this gown is incredible on her, incredible, beautiful. And when I saw this, I was like, uh-oh. I didn't originally have her in my 6. I had her in my interview episode, and I've had her throughout. She's been doing great. But when I saw this, I was like, looks like Cebu City could be in our 6, and she was. It was just that moment where she looked over the shoulder like, I got this. And I was like I screamed inside, maybe out loud, but I screamed when she did that. Iligan City, one of my personal favorites. So I talked about this for prelims. I did feel that prelims gown was a bit heavy on her. I did have that same sentiment for finals. I actually like this gown change for finals. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I think this gown would have looked even more amazing, and I could be wrong, but maybe it has this, but a really exaggerated internal corset I think would have been really beautiful on this gown. But I still do feel like it does her a little bit of a disservice because it looks like she has trouble walking in this gown. It looks very heavy for her, and I feel like it's preventing her from gliding across the stage and giving us that really elegant look. So she did her best. This is still a great performance, but I do feel like just the heaviness of the gown was difficult to walk in. Sinaloa and Laguna, so we had a little reveal here. I'm glad that she just left that piece behind her. This gown perfectly accentuated her waist. It was absolutely stunning. I love this. It's just like her signature thing. She just looked so incredible the entire time. Super confident. I love her smile too on stage. It's I feel like she in herself, like you see her body and you're like, oh, like you think, oh, very sexy type of look. But then she really brings this beautiful, authentic smile to the stage all of the time, and I think it really balances things out because she doesn't have to try to be sexy. There's no effort there. But I love her smile. I think she just has this beautiful complexion, like so, like her skin looks poreless. Absolutely stunning. So the top 6 did an onstage question. We're going to talk about all of that. Now, I was disappointed that we didn't get a second question from them, whether that was a question for a top 3 or whether it was a situation where everybody answered the same second question. I just really thought that we needed a second question. I was waiting on that. It was a really harsh cut from a 6 to a winner, and then because of the way that crowning is going, and I totally understand, we'll talk about that later, but because of crowning, we didn't even get to see runner-ups or placements on stage. We went 6 to 1. Let's talk about it. Sultan Kurarat is our first contestant, and she was asked, the national elections are in a week's time. Our national hero wrote that the youth is the hope of our fatherland. How can our young people play an important role in our elections? She said, in our generation, youth has a strong personality. They have the power to choose and vote for the right leaders. That's why I would like to encourage our youth to be wise in selecting our leaders, because when we are very wise about this, we can reach the tip of the universe, and the Philippines will definitely be progressive and productive as well. So a lot of the questions for the night were based around politics, upcoming election. I personally didn't love that. I would much rather listen to questions or listen to them answer questions that are about why are they qualified to be the title holder, or just have some variation, like maybe throw in one question about the nearing election and then give more variation to the others. So that was something that I just felt like it made it extra tough, and it's another reason why I wanted to hear a second question, because a lot of these ladies didn't really have a way to naturally share about this is why I'm the best pick to be Miss Universe. I thought that the answer was okay. It was good. Like in her presentation, she spoke very well. No complaints there. But when they asked her, how can young people play an important role in our elections? What else was she going to really say other than select a great leader? Please vote in this upcoming election. Or you could also offer up suggestions like be an active participant in between elections, educate yourself on our politicians and their policies, vote for policies and not people. Sure, there's ways to go about it, but is that question really setting you up for an answer that's going to even allow you to share an answer that is going to inspire the judges to pick you? Probably not. That was tough. Now, Sinaloan, she got asked, if you were to be the governor or mayor of the local government that you're representing now, what would be the single most significant project that you wish you would accomplish? Because she's done so much work with sustainability, that's where I thought she was going to go with this. But instead, she said that she's always known herself to be an advocate of education, and she would definitely promote education empowerment across all genders in her municipality, because we all understand that education is the key to open multiple doors of opportunity, the power that no one can take away from us, and the solution to feel more empowered and transformed. So very well said, very beautiful, not filled with a bunch of fluff. I thought this was great and to be expected from her. Now, I do feel like the answer to this question, like what would be your legacy, what would be your biggest accomplishment if you were this leader, that the education route is a very popular route to go with on-stage questions. I don't mind it at all. But I think that what could have really strengthened this if she would have thrown in something about the work that she's already currently doing or plans to do as Miss Universe Philippines when it comes to education. Is she volunteering at schools? Is she a tutor? Is she somebody fundraising for scholarship funds? Like, what is she doing in that realm? I feel like that could have been an even stronger answer. Muntinlupa, more politics. On May 12th, 2025, our general elections will be held and we will be choosing our leaders. In your opinion, what's the most essential quality that we should look for in leaders and why? So I felt like this answer, it's an answer we've heard before, very safe. Not a bad answer, but a safe answer. So she says we should look for someone who has integrity, someone who puts people's welfare first before their own political wants and own needs. We should have a leader that is not politics as usual, but someone who will always put other people's wants and needs. So safe answer, nothing bad said here, but I think the nature of the question itself doesn't leave much room open to allow her to talk about herself and really, at the end of the day, why you should pick her, right? Now, if you get a question like this, you could switch it around and bring it around and give an answer that's slightly different, that's going to talk a little bit more about yourself by choosing to focus on you instead of just the leader. Initially, you should answer the question, be direct. And you could say something like, integrity, I feel like, is an important value and something that we should look for in all of our political leaders. But it's also something that is a standard that I hold myself to. It's one of my personal core values. I apply this in the workplace, in my family life, and in my community. As a mother, I feel like it's especially important that I set a positive example for my children and for future generations. And this is why I choose to lead in my community and advocate for education as well as fundraise for it and volunteer as an after-school tutor so that all of our children can have equal opportunities. Great, yes, you answered the question about leadership, but you also threw in a little bit about yourself. No rule against that. That's the way I would have went about it. Tagig was asked a question about women being a minority still in politics. Then the host segued to saying that at Miss Universe Philippines, this is something we talk about, women in politics, and what could you do to encourage them to participate in politics? And I like the beginning of this answer. She said, women today deserve a seat at the table. This time, we are on par with men. We are trailblazers, we are leaders, and I think that women are definitely a power, a force in the universe. I think this was cut a little bit short. I think that she didn't fully answer the question because they're saying, how are you going to encourage these women to participate in politics? I think that by sharing that message to young women, that could encourage them to participate in politics, but really it's asking what is the role that you would play in that type of empowerment. I think if she would have just changed her messaging slightly by saying, my message to young women today and what I would like to share is that you deserve a seat at the table. We are all trailblazers and leaders. You are on par with your male counterpart. Your voice is necessary and it's needed. And that's why it is essential that young women today participate in politics. Whether that means being a leader in your community and running as an elected official, or simply by participating in our local elections. It's essential. Your voice is important and it needs to be heard. I think that could have taken the answer up a little bit. Cebu City, I feel like she got the best answer that kind of set her up for success. So she was asked, just like our public officials, a beauty queen is a public figure whose life is under constant scrutiny. As a beauty queen, how do you maintain your authenticity amidst expectations of the public? She said, as I've gotten older, I've realized and learned that the most important thing is the posture of the heart. You have to ask yourself, am I putting out the best version of myself into the world? And is that something that is helping other people? I don't think there's a reason that we have to live on this earth if we are not impacting people positively. And so I hope all of us can move forward and see the people next to us and move to a better place in society, because as Filipinos, we can place love above all. I think she said a lot of wonderful things here. I like her opening of starting with the posture of our heart. I feel like that's so important. And honestly, I feel like that was probably the strongest part of her answer, because they're asking her, how do you maintain your authenticity? And I can tell you as a creator, somebody who gets criticized every single day, that you have to at some point or another recognize that whatever you put out there in the world, whatever you put out there online, it can live forever. And people can have so many different interpretations. And there are people out there that'll comment on my episodes and they'll say, I feel like you're being authentic, I feel like you're being biased. But what's most important to me is that I know in my heart that I'm not. And it's important that we realize that we don't have to constantly prove ourselves to other people, because there's a lot of people out there who don't like you for whatever reason, and you're never going to prove yourself to those people. So why waste the time, the effort, the energy putting yourself out there like that? I think what's important is, as she said, the posture of the heart. And honestly, for me, God knows my heart. So that's the only person that I'm trying to impress, that I'm really worried about their opinion. So I feel like that would have been a stronger answer, kind of leaning more into that. But I do still like how she wrapped it all up with love above all, because that is obviously one of the themes of the pageants this year. Kizan Province, I think, got another good question. Her question was, they say that a good leader leads by example. Tell us about one event in your life where you led by example and the impact that it made. So she says, I fell a while ago on stage, and the thing about me is whenever I fall in life, I make sure to come back stronger than last year. I was here on this stage, and for the second time this year, I am putting everything on the stage to be Miss Universe Philippines, because this is mine and my grandmother's shared dream, and she passed away earlier this year, and that is my ode to her. I do think that calling attention to the fact that she fell and she stood back up, that is that example of her being able to lead and be an example to others, right? And how that can impact others. I think it's interesting though, because in the moment, technically, because she hadn't just won yet, we didn't know the results, that just because you fell and stood back up on that stage doesn't necessarily mean that like you're gonna make this big impact, right? I do feel like the impact actually more so comes later, after the crown, and after people are able to say, hey, look, she fell, she got back up, and she still won. Like, she fell and she still won. I feel like that's a little bit more of the impact. I think that it was smart that she called out falling on stage, but I would have loved for her to relay this to another more significant example in her life. So she's saying, earlier today, I fell on stage and I stood back up. I've also done that at other important times of my life. And if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't, like, I'm going to make something up for you. So like saying, I failed the bar exam 2 times. And if I had let myself feel discouraged and give up, then I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be serving clients and bringing justice to those clients that I work with. I wouldn't be able to have that impact in my community and be such an important part of our judicial system. And I hope that that can serve as an example to everybody watching and listening right now. You know, that fall on stage was just one example of me falling physically and getting back up again. But I've done that many, many times in my life, and I hope you will too. I think the beginning was good, that the end could have been stronger, but I also really felt like going into finals, and when she had that moment, that nice little moment in swim, I do feel like that it was just meant for her. It was meant for her. I think she had a fantastic interview as well. I think she's put in the work. I also feel like the judges are going to take into consideration that she's going to represent the Philippines in Thailand. And I feel like sometimes it can be a risk to send your dark horse. It can be a risk to send your new contestant who has no international experience. And so one thing I would bet that they were considering is the fact that she's competed at Miss International, she's competed at Miss Cosmo, she was first runner-up, she placed recently at Cosmo, she was second runner-up last year. Like, she does really, 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 really well. She is pretty consistent with those placements. So I feel like I feel like that really worked for her. She's like a contestant that they can trust to represent the Philippines in a year that's going to be very, very difficult for anybody that goes to compete in Thailand. It's going to be intense. Let's talk about these placements, because I know that they can be a little bit confusing to some people who aren't used to this style of runners-up, essentially. So Sinaloa and Laguna, a lot of people were like, how could she be second runner-up? I feel like she did so much better. I agree with you. I think she did excellent. I think she could have been first runner-up if we had actually seen rankings. I can also understand that why she would reject taking any of the other titles so that she can just go back to working on pursuing the dream of Miss Universe Philippines. So by accepting second runner-up, that's where that places her. Muntinlupa is first runner-up. I don't know her life's ambitions. I don't know if she wants to come back from Miss Universe Philippines next year, but she has already won an international title for the Philippines. So for her, maybe she's like, I wanted Miss Universe Philippines or nothing. So maybe that's why they're putting her there. Cebu City, though, is Miss Eco, and Philippines just won Eco. So this is going to be really, really interesting to see how she does there, because a back-to-back is going to be tough. Not impossible, but it's going to be tough. So maybe the idea behind that was like she was really great. She was solid throughout this entire thing. She gave a great onstage question too. So maybe they're thinking, you know, this is our best bet for a back-to-back at Eco. Now we have Taguig. So she is being sent to Supra. Exciting, love Supra. And I actually do feel like she could be a really good fit for Supra. I feel like they're definitely going to be looking for that Filipino title holder. Like, Philippines is going to come in strong for that. I do feel like she could be a really great fit for Supra. Supra is interesting to me because I don't feel like they have a prototype in terms of like looks, body, anything like that. I feel like their prototype is just confidence, like an it factor, confidence title holder, and that's just, I mean, that's tough. I like her as an option for Supra. And then Sultan Kudarat, so we have Chelsea, and she accepted the title for Cosmo. So I actually really love that as well. I feel like she can win Cosmo. I really do. It's gonna be tough. Their top 2 is tough. They have an on-state debate, and I think she has the beauty for it, the walk, the body, all of that. All of her emphasis and really effort is just going to have to go into the debate portion, I think. I think she can get past a top 5, top 6 question, whatever they do. I think it's just going to be the debate and prepping her for that. That's it. But she's a really good shot for that. She's stunning. I would love to see her as Cosmo, but I can already see her in a top 5 for it. I think Atisa is so deserving as a title holder, though. I think that she was so beautiful, and she was getting better and better throughout this competition. So if you go back and watch my other episodes of the challenges, I was always talking about how what she brought this time was very different than what she's brought before, and I appreciate her trying new things, but they were also, I would say, successful. So I'm excited for her. I think she's going to make an excellent representative. I think she's going to be very, very well prepared in Thailand, and I think that all of her experiences are going to really, really help her naturally fall into this role of Miss Universe Philippines. So I'm excited. I'm wishing her all the luck in the world. I think she's gonna be amazing. I can't wait to see what she brings, how she continues to grow, because I feel like with her, that'll be kind of the most exciting part to see of her journey. But those are my overall thoughts. Let me know what you thought of the show in the comments, and don't forget, let's continue to be positive and kind. Let's be supportive of all of our contestants. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.